Discussion Boxing. Welcome to the channel, everybody. This is new. I'm just starting this channel about boxing, trying to get my feet on the ground, trying to grow the channel. This is new, so if you see any stumbles or anything like that, don't hold it against me. This is my first time on YouTube. I'm a huge boxing fan. I love the sport. It's my favorite sport. I want to, grow the channel. So, like, comment, and please subscribe to the channel if you don't do anything else. I'll be, discussing boxing, everything related to boxing. This is an all boxing channel. So I appreciate everybody's support. I appreciate, anybody that subscribed to the channel, help grow the channel. It'd be greatly appreciated. But today I'm doing post-fight reactions to today's events on Netflix. Shout out to Netflix for putting together a big card for the return of the Gypsy King after a 16-month layoff. It's a long time after suffering, two defeats from the hands of Alexander Usyk. So he's been out the ring for 16 months. So we didn't know how exactly he would look going into the fight against Arslanbek. But it was a great showing for the Gypsy King. Tyson Fury looked really good. Looked like the Tyson Fury of old, but that's a little bit down the line. There was a few fights on the undercard. I won't cover all of them, but I will cover the two fights under it, which was the British heavyweight champion of the world, Jamie, let me pronounce his name right. So Jamie Tshekiva. Jamie Tshekiva was the British heavyweight champion of the world. 9-2 record, not a big record, but it was 9-2. 5 KOs, putting the British heavyweight championship of the world against a big knockout artist, but at cruiserweight, and Richard Riahporhe, who was 19-1 with 15 KOs. So this was a big fight for both guys, but I do believe that Tshekiva was the underdog. I think he might have been a huge underdog in this fight against Riahporhe, and for good reason. Not a lot of fights under his belt. I did hear the broadcast mention that they sparred together before, but neither one kind of wanted to comment on how that went. But nonetheless, going into the fight, I did have Richard Riahporhe winning, but he did kind of dominate this fight. I gave the first round to Riahporhe. I kind of gave the second round to Tshekiva. I thought he kind of established the jab well, slipping a few punches, but it was a lot of clinching in this fight. Not a lot of action, really at all. It really wasn't too much action going on in this fight. It was just a lot of clinching, a lot of single shots, jabs, a few right hands here and there, a lot of misses, but a lot of clinching, mostly by Tshekiva. He kind of initiated a lot of the clinches, and he didn't look good at all. But going into the 5th round, Riahporhe was kind of taking over the fight. Um, he hit Tshekiva with a few good clean shots in the fifth, and then he hit him with a nice overhand right to the side of the ear, and it just knocked Tshekiva's equilibrium off, like, completely. So that was a knockdown. He got the 8 count, got up, and that's when you kind of seen the cruiserweight version of Riahporhe, because that's when he just completely started to, let his hands go. And once he did, the referee stepped in and stopped the fight. It was a slightly early stoppage. I wouldn't just, like, I didn't totally agree with the referee um, stopping the fight. Like, it was kind of premature. Tshekiva was kind of blocking a few punches, but he took a few shots, a few good clean shots after the knockdown. But the referee just figured, hey, I seen enough. You really not reacting well to these punches. Um, and he stopped the fight in the fifth round. So Richard Riahporhe is the new British heavyweight champion of the world via 5-round technical knockout. A little bit of controversy, as far as the stoppage go, but overall it was pretty much one-sided. A lot of holding by Tshekiva, and Richard Riahporhe, really not being able to kind of showcase, the knockout skill, or I would say even just his overall skill at the heavyweight division. This was his third fight in the heavyweight division. He's 3-0, and now he got 3 knockouts, and now he's the new British heavyweight champion of the world. And, this is his second British title. He was the British cruiserweight champion of the world. So now he's the British heavyweight champion of the world. So be on the lookout for Richard the Night Train Riahporhe. He might be kind of scary in the heavyweight division. I think he need a few tough fights with some upper echelon of the heavyweight division, but I do believe that he's a nice fighter, a dangerous fighter in the heavyweight division. Big, physical, long fighter, tall. He might be a scary guy at heavyweight. So I would advise the heavyweight division to be on the lookout for Richard Riahporhe. He said he is coming. So that was that fight. Then we move on to the co-main event of the evening, which was Regis Prograis against Benn. At a catch weight of 150, Prograis tried to get like a rehydration clause at 147, 148, and even 149. But I do believe Benn was the A side, and he said he wasn't doing 147. It was going to be at 150. So they fought at a catch weight of 150, and this fight, it was a rough watch. If I'm just being like completely honest, it was a rough watch. Like a lot of headbutting. It was action, but not like clean action, like you would like hope to see at a catch weight of 150. Prograis is a two-time champion. Conor Benn trying to establish himself in the upper echelon of the welterweight division. Uh, so it was a good kind of bridge fight. It was kind of like to see if Prograis was, still at a top level, like not in, not the elite level, but if he was still at a top level, given the age, I believe he's 37. So that was kind of, the type of fight that it was. It was just one of those bridge fights where, okay, is Conor being everything he say he is? Does Regis Prograis still have it? And to be honest with you, like, I don't think either thing happened. I don't think Conor Benn looked good. And I think this is like kind of on the downslope of, Regis Prograis career. A great career he's had, but I think he's kind of on the tail end of, a top level. And for Conor Benn, by this being such a hard watch, you didn't really get to see, did Conor take that, next leap to get the big name fights like, Shakur Stevenson or, Ryan Garcia. Like, you really didn't see a lot in Conor Benn. Like I said, this was a rough fight to watch. Uh, Conor Benn got cut from a headbutt on his left eye early in the fight. And then Conor Benn got another cut in the later rounds of the fight on his right eye. Regis Prograis, he took a lot of punishment, but not the kind of it was just like one of those rough fights where it was headbutting, But I will say this, Conor Benn, to me, he won the fight. I will say that, like, he won the fight dominantly to me. I had it 98-92 like the judges did, so it was kind of like I gave Prograis maybe 2 rounds, maybe, out of the fight. Maybe 2, maybe 3 rounds. I maybe gave him like, I think I gave him 2 rounds, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm looking here, yeah. I gave him 2 rounds. I gave him the second round and the fourth round. But he pretty much lost every round after the fourth round. Fifth round. No, wait a minute. Fourth round. Yeah, I'm right. I gave him the fourth round. And pretty much after that, he pretty much lost every single round after that. Like I said, it was a hard watch. You didn't really get to see a whole lot. It was entertaining, blood, of course. Both fighters bleeding, Prograis looking, beat up. Benn did, he did some good work, and, I'll say about a good 4 rounds, like, he did a lot of good work, a lot of good body work. I will say that he did a lot of good body work. So I guess if I had to, grade his performance since he actually, won and kind of dominated the fight, I would probably give him a good 6 out of 10, because he did have a lot of good body work in those rounds. Like, he hit Prograis with some really, really good combination body shots. But other than that, it just was a hard watch because it was just a lot of headbutting, a lot of cuts, a lot of, but overall it was an entertaining fight. I don't know where, Conor Benn goes from here as far as, excuse me, as far as like what like his actual next opponent would be. Like, I don't know, who do you think, you know, given that he did dominate this fight, although it was a hard watch, like, who do you feel that, like, Conor Benn should, actually fight next? Like, I would love to know, like, the fans' thoughts on who they would like to see him fight next. Because as far as, like, him selling a fight, he can really do that. Like, that is one attribute that uh, he has going for him, is he can sell a fight. He's a great showman. Um, I don't know if he can beat Shakur Stevenson. My betting money would be on Shakur, but if I was a betting man, I would put my money on Shakur. But is that the next fight, or would you like to see him against Ryan Garcia? I don't think he can beat Garcia. That's just me personally. Um, I don't think he can beat Shakur either, to be honest with you. But I do think that he will make it very entertaining against Ryan Garcia. Like, that could be an interesting fight. Like, that could be an interesting fight. I think Shakur is his discipline, the way he fights, I think that would give Conor Benn a lot of trouble, a lot of frustration. But I do think the Ryan Garcia fight would be a very interesting fight, because I do think Conor Benn is good. Don't get mistaken. Like, I do think Conor Benn is actually a really good fighter. It just he didn't really get to showcase it tonight, is what I'll say. But that's who I would like to see him actually fight next, is probably Ryan Garcia. Like, if you're just completely honest with me, if I'm being completely honest, I would like to see him against Ryan Garcia. I think that'll be a very, very, entertaining fight. So now let's move on to the actual main attraction, the main event of the evening, which was the return of the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury, taking on, and let me get his name correct also. Uh, I think it's Arslanbek, uh, Makhmudov. I think that's his name. Or Makhmudov. I think that's his name. But this was a fight. This was a comeback fight for Tyson Fury, and um, it was one of those. It was one of those things where you could ask yourself, based on kind of what we seen last week with Deontay Wilder and Derek Chisora, it was an entertaining fight, but that fight was also kind of a hard watch because both guys kind of look past their prime. I think Deontay Wilder still got about a good um, 3 fights left in him as far as um, attraction wise. It's still a few like fights that I think that would be very, very interesting as far as Deontay Wilder in the heavyweight division. I'll get to that a little bit later, but this was a fight where you wanted to see if Tyson Fury actually still got anything left in the tank, and going into the fight, You know, like with a 16-month layoff, like that's a long layoff for someone that is 37. That's a long layoff. Um, Especially given him losing his last two fights against Usyk, um, fights that he felt like he won both. Um, I would disagree. I think he actually lost both, but he did have some good moments in both fights. But I do think he did. You know, I do believe he lost both fights. Um, you know, kind of clearly, in my opinion, against Usyk. But nonetheless, this was his comeback fight after a 16-month layoff, and you just kind of wanted to see like, how he looked. You know, it really wasn't about the opponent per se, even though I'm just gonna say his name, Arlen Beck. I call him Arlen Beck. That's his first name. But he was a dangerous opponent, very dangerous opponent. He was 21-2 with 19 knockouts, so he was a dangerous opponent, but an opponent that, like, he was gonna stand in front of Fury. Like, it wasn't gonna be like he was going to have a lot of movement, head movement, uh, punching at angles. Like, he was going to just make it difficult for Tyson Fury to kind of figure him out the way Usyk did. Like, this was a guy that he's just going to come forward. He's just going to come forward and he's just going to try to knock you out. That's just the type of fighter that he is. From what I saw, looking at some of the highlights of him, like, he's just a come forward fighter, which that's the kind of fighter that in a 16th-month layoff for Tyson Fury is the ideal opponent. Like, dangerous, but he's going to be there for Fury to hit. And he was there for Tyson Fury to hit. And Tyson Fury hit him all day, every round, you know. And I give credit to Arslan Beck that he came to like he came to fight, but it was like, was it too late? Did he have Arslan Beck? That is his name, Arslan Beck. So I did have it right. Not Arlen Beck, but Arslan Beck. Sorry about that. Arslan Beck, Makhmudov. That's his name. Arslan Beck Makhmudov. So he was just Makhmudov. I think that's his name, Makhmudov. But he was an easy target for Tyson Fury, like, all night long. He was a easy target. He came straight forward. The first round was kind of interesting, and we all know, like, you know, watching, if you've ever watched any of Tyson Fury fights, like, he's a slow starter. Like, he just kind of he'll give a round or two away to kind of, you know, figure you out and see what, you know, what you got. So the first round, you know, Makhmudov, like, I gave him the first round because he caught Fury with a overhand right that kind of, you know, stunned Fury a little bit. So it was like, oh, okay, all right, you know, Tyson, you better get it together. Like, this guy looked like he, you know, coming to do some work. And so the first round went to Makhmudov. I gave him the first round. But after that, it was just all Fury all day. Like, I just want to say, like, let me just side note to Makhmudov. You gotta get you that come forward like this is that just ain't gonna work against upper echelon fighters. And I do believe that he, like needs to work on as far as like cardio. Wrestling bears is cool and all, but you might want to do some cardio, bro. Like seriously, because around the fourth round, you look like you just ran out of all gas. And I believe wrestling them damn bears did it, because you can't tell me that you wrestling bears and everything like that, and then all of a sudden, you just gonna have a lot of stamina. Like, I don't think it worked like that. So maybe as far as boxing go, maybe you need to, cut back on uh, wrestling 1,000-pound bears. Like, that's just, my honest advice to give you. Stop wrestling the damn bears, bro. Seriously. Um, because the second round to the 12th, Tyson just completely dominated the fight. I mean, combinations. Makhmudov ran into like every uppercut that Tyson Fury threw. It seemed like it landed, and you could hear Ronaldo on the commentator like just uppercut after uppercut after uppercut, because an uppercut party don't stop. And that's what it was. It was just uppercut after uppercut. And even Fury's trainer kind of got on him in the middle round, just saying like, just uppercut, because he's there, And then even in the later rounds, he was telling them to, uppercut to the body and get him out of here. But this was a good showing for Tyson Fury. Like, this was a good comeback fight. Like, it wasn't an easy fight, like at all, because this guy is dangerous. He got 21 fights and 19 knockouts. So he's a big puncher, but he's not a very skillful fighter. So this was a great, great opponent that Tyson Fury chose to have a comeback fight against. Like, a dangerous opponent, a big puncher, but a guy that was just going to kind of stand there and, either get hit or hit. So I had a few notes about the rounds. Like I said, round one went to Makhmudov. Round two on, it was all Fury. Fury in the, second and third round kind of moved around the ring, slipping punches, hitting with combo shots. And then in the third round, I thought, Fury kind of looked, he established like being a superior, fighter, being the upper echelon fighter. Fourth round, Fury did get caught with a big shot. He did get caught. Makhmudov did hit him with another big shot in the fourth round, but Fury shook that off. Fury does have a chin, so he did take the shot, but overall he still won that round. And in the fifth round, you could really see the conditioning of Makhmudov. Like, you could really see that, going into the later rounds is like kind of not really his forte. As far as it's not really his forte to go into late rounds. Like, he's really not a late round fighter. And around the fifth round, you could tell. Like, you could really tell that this was a fight he didn't want to really be in anymore. Like, because he just was kind of holding and kind of clinching. Fury did some good work on the inside. I think Makhmudov's plan was to like his plan was to wear Fury against the ropes and throw like one big shot to see if he could hurt Fury, because like on the inside, I mean on the outside and in the middle of the ring, you could just see that he really is not a technical fighter. Like he just know how to come forward, throw a big shot, put you up against the ropes. And, if you can't slip punches and you can't slip, overhand rights, he'll catch you with a shot and probably get you out of there. But against a guy like, a two-time heavyweight champion of the world, Tyson Fury, like, that's probably not going to work. Like, you need to kind of set him up for shots if you want to have a chance, because he's just too good, technically to, get hit with a big shot, from I'll say a guy that just coming straight forward, like no real head movement, no anything like that. But that was in the 5th round. That was kind of like, that was the 4th round. I'm sorry. That was the 4th round, and that was kind of the end of Makhmudov. Like that was the end for him. You know what I mean? Like he really didn't have like anything left after that, because the 5th round and Fury dominated with a lot of inside shots, because you could see Makhmudov was getting tired. So Fury was in and out, in and out. And when he get in the clinch, he'd throw, body shots and stuff like that. The 7th round, Arslan Beck looked exhausted, but still coming forward. Still, like he tried. I'll give him that. Like I'm not gonna say that he didn't try. Like he tried, but you could just see he was pretty much gassed. And like from the 7th round on, it was just uppercut city. Like it was a barrage of uppercuts. Like that's what it was. It was uppercut after uppercut after uppercut. And to Makhmudov credit, like he took him good, and he kept coming. So he's definitely not an easy out. He's also a dangerous fighter that I would employ, fighters to stay from. But I will say this: him and Riahporhe, that fight might be a knockout. So if I'm Makhmudov, or if I'm Richard Riahporhe, maybe that Makhmudov fight might be your coming out party, Riahporhe. So I would definitely look to get that fight. Even though I know in your post-fight interview, you said that, you would like to fight, the winner of Wardley DeBow. I don't know if you'll get that, but that Makhmudov fight, that might be the fight for you. But moving along, Fury dominated every round. The 10th round, I think was the 11th round. The 11th round was Fury's best round. Like I thought that like he actually had a chance to get Makhmudov in a little trouble. He landed some big shots in that 11th round. Like that was by far Fury's best round. Like he landed some big clean shots in that round, and he kind of had Makhmudov on the ropes a little bit. But 12th round came, Makhmudov did survive that round. 12th round came, it was more of the same. Fury kind of dominated the fight, hit him with more uppercuts. Like if you watch this fight, you'll see like exactly what I'm saying. Like it was uppercut after uppercut after uppercut after uppercut from like the 7th round, pretty much to the bell rung. Like, you know, Fury had that uppercut working, and it was landed. It was landed. So it was a dominant fight. I had it 120-108. Most of the judges had it 120-108. It was 11 rounds to one. It, from the second round on, it was just a complete shutout. But let's get to the juicy topic of this evening. You know, to just put a cap on it, Fury emphatically in his post-fight interview called out Anthony Joshua. And it was loud, it was direct, and it's the fight that everyone wants to see, especially, the UK. Right? This is probably the biggest fight in UK's history. I don't know if they want to do it in Tottenham Stadium or at Wembley. I think they would honestly sell out Wembley. I think 90,000 people will show up to see that fight between those two. And it's a fight not just, as far as the UK go, it's a fight that boxing fans wanted to see for so long. They was, saying like 10 years in the making. I don't know if it's been the biggest fight to make over the last 10 years, but I think once the Fury Wilder trilogy ended, I think that was the time to make that fight. I think that's when the fight was at its peak. Once Fury got out of that trilogy with Wilder, which was a great trilogy, by the way, one of the all-time great trilogies in boxing, in my opinion. But once he got out of that trilogy with Wilder, that was, to me, the peak of that fight happening, as far as globally and what the world wanted to see. Now I think that it's still a big fight. I still think that it's the biggest fight, as far as UK go, but I think that it's a big boxing fight. It's just not as big as it was, out when he got out of the Wilder trilogy. But I will tune in for that fight. But he did call AJ out. He did. He said, let's make it happen. Turkey Ali Sheik was in the building. He was in the ring. He did say before the Fury fight that, AJ was in the building. Eddie Hearn, of course, was in the building. Matchroom Boxing. They were in the building, and, His Excellency Turkey Ali Sheik did say that, they had a big announcement after the fight. But, once he said that, everybody kind of knew, okay, this is the fight that, everybody want to see. It's been brewing, it's been stewing, it's been, on that, not as big as the hype around, Floyd versus Manning, but it was, a big fight that everybody wanted to see. Like it was a big fight that everybody wanted to see, and I think a lot of people still want to see it. He called AJ out, man, and AJ kind of blew it off a little bit. It was Tyson Fury's night. He just kind of blew it off. He was like, but Fury was serious. He was loud and he was serious, and he was saying, yo, let's let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. Let's stop playing. Let's stop BSing. Let's stop all the games. Let's make it happen. Like all that talking is that it's over with. I've lost fights. You done lost fights. Let's just make it happen. It ain't no sense of neither one of us saying, "Oh, we don't want to fight each other because we're both undefeated, and if I lose, y'all both done lost fights." So at this point, it's just make it happen, bro. Let's just stop it and let that just be the next fight for both of y'all. But AJ kind of blew it off a little bit. I'm going through this, I'm going through that. He did lose, his best friend, and I know that, it's life, man. It happens to everybody. So he kind of used that. I wouldn't say as an excuse because somebody losing their life close to you. There's it's painful for anybody. But he kind of just used that as saying, I got, real stuff I'm dealing with and real life I'm dealing with it. And, I'm the A side and, I'm the main attraction and I'm the boss and whatever I say go. And, so if you want to fight, you got to wait till I want to fight. But, it's like, come on, bro. We 10 years in. Like, what we doing? You know what I mean? Like, what we doing at this point? It ain't no reason we should be at that point of saying, who's the main attraction, who's this, who's that, who's on top, who's, not who. There really ain't no reason for that. It's just either you gonna get in the ring with them or you not. So it kind of like, left a lot of meat on the bone as far as if they gonna fight each other or not. Like, who knows? But I think it's gonna happen. Turkey Ali Sheik, he make the fights, man. So I do believe that, it will happen. Like I think that'll be the next fight. But the big question that people, left after that post fight, him calling AJ out is AJ ducking Tyson Fury? Like, do he really believe that he can beat Tyson Fury? And I do want to know, your thoughts. So, leave a comment below. Do you believe that Anthony Joshua can actually beat Tyson Fury? At this stage, in Fury's career, I think it's possible. If you'd have asked me this before the Usyk fight, I would have said hell no. Honestly, I would have been like, no, he cannot beat Tyson Fury. But at this stage of Fury's career, the trilogy with Wilder, that took a lot out of Fury. That trilogy took a lot because he got hurt in pretty much every fight that they fought. The second fight, Fury kind of dominated that fight, getting the stoppage. He kind of beat Wilder up in that fight, but every fight with Wilder it took a lot out of Tyson Fury. And I believe it showed in both those Usyk fights what that actual, damage did. As well for Wilder too. Especially took a lot out of Wilder because he got, knocked out twice, by Tyson Fury. But it took a lot out of Fury too. So at this stage, I would say that AJ got a chance. But, Fury looked good tonight. But you really can't, put a hard stamp on this fight. You know what I mean? Like, you really can't put just a hardcore stamp and say, no, AJ can't beat Fury. Because, this is not the same Fury from the Wilder trilogy. It's definitely not the same Fury, and it showed. And like I said, both the Usyk losses, it showed. Um, so I don't know. Um, I would lean towards Fury because AJ too. AJ have been knocked out as well. So it ain't like that. He's been just he's been ultra dominant and in every fight. He's lost. He's been knocked out a few times. You know, he did. That exhibition I would say against Jake Paul. Um, he showed some glimpses of the old AJ in that fight, but we all know that as serious as Jake Paul take boxing, he's not an elite fighter. You know, and I think he's good. He's good for boxing. Don't get me wrong. Like he's great for boxing, and he puts real time in the gym and everything. But he's not an elite fighter. So I don't know, man. To be honest with you, I really don't know who would win that fight. If I say now who would have the edge going into the fight, I would say Fury. I would say Tyson definitely has the edge going into the fight. But is AJ ducking, man? Is he ducking Fury, man? Because it's been a long time. It's been a long time, and it seemed like to me that um, AJ kind of avoided Fury. I wouldn't say ducked him, but I think he kind of avoided Tyson over the years, especially given the fact that AJ had lost. He lost twice to Usyk as well. Usyk beat both guys twice. Lost to Usyk, got knocked out again. So I think he kind of, at that point, Tyson was, here. Fury was here. And AJ kind of was, and they still wanted to make the fight. And AJ, nah, But I think now after both Usyk losses and, the wear and tear of the Wilder trilogy, I think it'll be kind of interesting. I think AJ will be way more confident fighting him now, I would say. But, what are your thoughts, man? I want to know, what are your thoughts about, you know, how Tyson Fury looked, um, him fighting AJ, what's next for both fighters? Will they fight next? What's next for Conor Benn? Will he get a bigger fight with Shakur or Ryan Garcia or somebody, in the upper echelon of the welterweight division? I think him and Mario Barrios will be an entertaining fight as well. Will he fight Rolly Romero next? So, what's next for Conor Benn? But overall, man, this was a pretty solid, event, pretty solid card. Um, and we look forward to, the next event. I do believe it's May 2nd, I want to say. It's May 2nd. Let me look. I do believe that, if I ain't mistaken, it is. The next big, card is May 2nd. Yeah, yeah. The next major event will be May 2nd, the Mexican Monster, David Benavidez, uh, against Gilberto Ramirez for the WBA and WBO cruiserweight titles. I'm gonna try to do live commentary for that event. I'm not sure. Like I said, I just started the channel. Um, and I appreciate everybody that like, comment, subscribe, subscribe to the channel, man. Just my perspective of boxing. I'm a huge boxing fan, man, but I'm gonna try to do a live commentary of that fight. Um, May is a big month for boxing. There's a lot of great fights coming up, and of course, the June 27th showdown between Yander Zayas and Jerron Boots Ennis in the super welterweight division. You know that's gonna be one of those. But May is a big month for boxing. You got the Bo Wardley, you got the Mexican Monster, David Benavidez, you got Inoue. It's a big month. Also, you got Jamie Carano and Ronda Rousey. So May is a big month, man, for combat sports, man. I think Bivol is fighting in May, if I ain't mistaken. So May is gonna be a crazy month for boxing, and we're gonna learn a lot in May. We are going to learn a lot in May, man. The boxing landscape in May is gonna shake up boxing, especially going into June with Boots and Zayas. Um, so the boxing landscape, man, is gonna change a lot next month. It's a lot of big fights. And I'm looking forward to covering it, man. I am. I'm a huge boxing fan, man. I love the sport. It's my favorite sport. It's been for a long time. But yeah, man, I appreciate you guys. Check out the video, man. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Help grow the channel. I appreciate everybody for watching the video. If you watch it, if you like it, if you don't, it's all good. Like I said, I'm just starting the channel out, man. So I appreciate all the love, support, help grow the channel. Appreciate you guys, man. Open Discussion is signing out. Peace.